Hello and welcome everyone to the Party Animal Podcast, episode number 7, Prom Night. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Luna. We are here today to take a serious look at what is often considered the defining high school milestone, prom night.
That's right. For so many students, this one night is just this massive vortex of incredibly high expectations.
Oh, absolutely. Expectations that have been built up over 4 years, sometimes even longer.
And because of that, there are, frankly, some pretty high stakes when things go wrong. We've been provided with some really compelling materials by you, our listener, and they center around a dramatic, almost cautionary story.
Yeah, and it also offers a very clear breakdown of, the pros and the cons of the whole experience.
And then crucially, it all wraps up with some very practical safety tips.
Our mission today is to really explore and extract the most important insights from this information. We want to help you balance the fun of that celebration with the necessary personal safety.
And the responsibility, right.
And the responsibility that frankly has to come with an event of this magnitude. When you look at the material, it's clear this night is a dividing line.
A dividing line how?
Well, not just between high school and whatever comes next, but often between maturity and, recklessness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to sort of anchor this whole discussion, we're going to use the detailed story of one student, Sophia.
Her experience in Santa Clarita, California, yeah.
It provides a perfect, almost cinematic example of where those lines between fun, pure approval, and, genuine danger can get completely blurred.
It's such a powerful narrative because it shows that internal conflict so well.
It does, Luna. And using Sophia's experience helps us move past, just an academic or parental analysis.
Right. It lets us really see the emotional stakes that are involved in making these tough choices in really high-pressure social environments.
So let's unpack the build-up to her night.
Yes.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our scene starts in sunny Santa Clarita, California. The entire senior class was just vibrating with excitement about their upcoming prom.
It wasn't just another dance, was it?
No, not at all. This was the evening, right? The material sets the stage perfectly. It was supposed to mark the definitive end of their high school journey.
And the celebrated beginning of whatever came next.
College, a career, travel, you name it.
And Sophia, our main character in this narrative, she really becomes the focal point for all of this anticipation.
She kind of symbolizes that intense senior excitement.
She really does. We learn she didn't just, casually prepare for it. She spent weeks meticulously planning every single detail.
We're talking about finding the perfect, elegant dress, coordinating the group, securing reservations.
It all works. The excitement was, as the information notes, genuinely contagious.
And that level of planning, it really sets up the highest possible expectation for, the perfect storybook night.
It's interesting because that high level of emotional and financial investment, it almost makes the stakes higher, doesn't it?
Of course. If you've planned for weeks and spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, you are deeply committed to that night being, quote, unforgettable. But this is where the tension starts to build almost immediately. What's so fascinating here is the early introduction of this, insidious kind of pressure.
That's right. As prom night got closer, the focus subtly shifted.
How so?
Rumors began circulating, spreading like wildfire, about an unsanctioned after-party.
Right. And crucially, this event wasn't organized by parents or teachers.
No. It was put together by a specific group of students, and they're described as those known for their wild antics.
And the power of that party wasn't just where it was the promise it held.
The promise, right. It offered this irresistible allure, I'm quoting here, an unforgettable night filled with freedom and adventure.
It was this unspoken thing that the official event, the one with chaperones and schedules, was just the warm-up.
Exactly. The real memory, the truly exclusive moment of freedom. That was all going to happen after midnight.
You can just picture the atmosphere. The whispers in the hallways, the intense pressure of FOMO, the fear of missing out, just driving the whole conversation.
Yeah, that feeling that if you didn't go to this after party, you hadn't truly celebrated. That psychological framing is so important.
So the official night arrives. We have the grand ballroom, the fine attire, the music, the laughter.
The material gives us that classic idyllic scene. It captures the essence of youthful joy perfectly.
It sounds like the first half of the night absolutely lived up to every single expectation Sophia had set for it.
But as the clock edged past midnight, that perfect facade, it began to crack. As the official prom started to wind down, the pull of the after-party grew much louder, much more urgent.
And that allure, that secret event, it proved irresistible, especially to Sophia's immediate group of friends.
They were just completely driven by this desire to prolong the magic.
To stop the night from ending and prevent that, inevitable return to reality, they felt like they needed that adventure to validate their entire investment in the night.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because the material gives us such a vivid picture of the sheer chaotic difference in the environment.
Right. So they finally arrive at this after-party location.
And they are instantly met with pulsating music, dimly lit rooms, and an atmosphere that was no longer elegant and joyful.
Instead it was, and I quote, fueled by adrenaline and recklessness.
It was a complete sensory shift, and it was designed to encourage, uninhibited behavior.
Yes, the contrast is so deliberate. The venue itself signaled this temporary suspension of all the rules.
And the material emphasizes this crucial moment of decision. Temptation loomed large in the form of substances.
Alcohol and drugs were present, promising, quote, temporary euphoria.
And caught up in that chaotic excitement, Sophia's friends, one by one, they succumbed to the allure.
They began to indulge. And this is the critical detail.
Yes.
Without fully understanding or calculating the immediate and the long-term risks that came with those choices.
But Sophia hesitated.
Right there in the middle of it.
Right. Despite being there, standing in the chaos, surrounded by people she cared about who were all actively participating, she recognized the potential dangers.
She saw the serious consequences lurking behind that whole facade of uncontrolled fun.
And this hesitation, this pause, is the pivot point for the entire story and for our discussion today.
She had to wrestle with this immense internal pressure.
On one side, you have the desire to bond with her friends, to stay connected, to not be seen as, the responsible one.
The boring one.
The boring one, exactly. And on the other side, this awareness that the situation was deteriorating and fast.
She ultimately made the incredibly difficult decision to leave.
Despite having a heavy heart and recognizing that sinking feeling that her friends were walking into a dangerous unknown.
She prioritized her safety and, more importantly, her core values over that intense pressure of peer inclusion.
That takes a tremendous amount of emotional strength, especially at that age.
It really does. And the devastating news arrived the following morning, which just validated all of her fears.
The material states that the after-party had, indeed, taken a dangerous and dark turn, resulting in an incident that left several students injured.
And it doesn't specify the injury,
Yeah.
but the fact that the consequences were so severe and visible to Sophia. She saw the pain, the regret on her friends' faces later.
It just highlights the stark reality of it all.
And in that devastating moment of realization, she understood that prom night, this thing that was meticulously planned to be a triumphant milestone,
Had been completely overshadowed by poor choices and risky behavior.
the magic they were trying so hard to prolong was just replaced by regret.
The powerful conclusion to this narrative is that Sophia didn't just recover from this. She acted. From that day forward, she became an advocate for responsible decision-making.
She started sharing her story publicly, didn't she?
Yes. Cautioning others about the very real risks that come with succumbing to peer pressure and compromising your long-term well-being for those quick, quote, temporary thrills.
So the tale of prom night in Santa Clarita really serves as a stark reminder. It's not enough just to know the rules.
No, you have to have the personal resilience to enforce them on yourself, especially when everyone around you is actively ignoring them.
It really highlights the importance of fostering that environment of genuine support among friends, where saying no is respected, not, ridiculed.
Now, Thomas, we should probably take a step back from Sophia's personal experience for a moment. Her story, it highlights the worst-case scenario, the really high stakes.
Right. But as I said earlier, for most people, prom is a massive, incredibly positive celebration.
Exactly. So if we want to prevent the kind of situation Sophia faced, we have to look at both sides. The immense reasons students anticipate this night so intensely.
And the inherent structural challenges and pitfalls they face.
We need to understand the full weight of the event.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about balancing that sky-high expectation versus the messy reality of trying to execute a perfect night.
Right. The material provides a very clear breakdown of the intended positives. So let's explore the pros of prom night as they're identified in the information we have.
Okay, let's start with the most obvious one. The celebration and memory.
The material calls it a significant milestone and a memorable experience. But why? What makes it that?
I think it's that unique combination of factors that provides that one-time opportunity to dress up in a way you usually wouldn't.
To dance in a formalized setting, and to celebrate a profound transition alongside a peer group you've spent the last 4 years navigating.
Yeah, these aren't just memories, they're benchmark memories. They define a whole life stage.
That's a great way to put it. And second, it serves a real ceremonial purpose, celebrating achievements.
Prom night functions as a reflection point, a collective acknowledgement of the accomplishments of the graduating class.
It's a time to pause, to reflect on the full high school journey, and to acknowledge the hard work, the successes, and the struggles that have led them to this point.
It's like a formal, communal moment of decompression before the next stage of life begins. It's like an unscripted graduation ceremony focused entirely on the students.
Then you have the inherent glamour, which, while it can seem superficial, holds enormous cultural weight. Formal attire and glamour.
Oh, for many students, this is truly the first real opportunity to participate in a black tie or formal event. It's incredibly exciting because it allows them to step outside of their day-to-day identity.
Right, they get to express their personal style in a sophisticated way, feel genuinely glamorous, and just enjoy the sheer elegance of a formal event that's specifically for them.
And that glamour ties right into the tradition, which often gets filmed and photographed, amplifying its importance. That brings us to the promenade and traditions.
Yes. The material highlights that prom night often includes traditional activities like the promenade, where attendees walk down a grand staircase or a stage.
Showcasing their attire to this admiring crowd of peers, parents, and community members.
Exactly. This pageantry really adds to the overall experience and creates that deep sense of nostalgia and occasion that lasts long after the night is over. It's designed to feel timeless.
And finally, the most fundamental positive aspect, the one that underlies all the planning, is socializing and bonding.
Prom night allows for deep socializing, for bonding with peers, classmates, and close friends. It provides a structured chance to genuinely strengthen relationships.
And to make new connections outside of the typical classroom hierarchy.
Right, and to share a collective emotional experience that formally marks the end of an era. It's the final major social opportunity before the group disperses.
So we have all these powerful, positive motivators: memory, celebration, glamour, community. But this raises an essential analytical question, Lina. Why does a celebration built on such positive foundations so frequently lead to overwhelming stress, deep disappointment, or the kind of physical and emotional danger that Sophia narrowly avoided?
That's the core of it. The materials identify 6 major cons or challenges that outline these pitfalls.
The first one is a massive structural hurdle for many families, especially now: financial burden.
Oh, definitely. The costs associated with prom night are often staggering. For some, it can approach the cost of a small wedding.
We're talking about expensive prom tickets, which alone can run hundreds of dollars. The cost of custom or designer attire, shoes, accessories.
Hair, makeup, professional photos, securing transportation like a limo or a luxury vehicle, dinner, and critically, those after-party events.
And it's not just the amount, it's the expectation that drives the spending. These expenses add up with frightening speed.
And they can cause significant financial strain and anxiety, especially for lower-income families where parents feel this immense pressure to provide that perfect night for their child.
The material correctly emphasizes that budgeting and planning are necessary to avoid this. But often the pressure to conform just overrides common sense. The pressure to look good is often a pressure to spend big.
And that financial pressure connects directly to the second con, which is purely psychological and, frankly, exhausting. Peer pressure and unrealistic expectations.
Prom night involves incredibly high expectations regarding appearances, finding the right date, and the overall narrative of the experience.
That pressure to fit in, to appear effortlessly flawless, or to conform to some idealized societal norm is genuinely stressful.
And this stress can actively affect self-esteem, driving unnecessary comparisons among friends and classmates, leading to anxiety before the night even begins.
That pressure to conform then manifests in the third challenge: exclusion and social dynamics.
The material acknowledges a painful truth. Not everyone has a positive experience.
No, exclusionary social dynamics or that feeling of being visibly left out can be really common.
And we're not just talking about students who don't get a date. We're talking about the public ranking that happens when people compare outfits, dates, or social groups on the dance floor.
And the material makes a really important point here, one that requires specific discussion.
Which is?
It's explicitly noted that institutions need to ensure inclusivity and support all attendees, specifically mentioning the need to respect and celebrate the diversity of peers.
Including LGBTQ plus individuals.
Yes, who may face extra layers of judgment or challenge related to attire or date selection. If the institution doesn't create a welcoming environment, those dynamics of exclusion are just intensified.
And that structural pressure often sets up the fourth challenge: unmet expectations.
Because the night is so heavily anticipated, all the months of planning, the financial outlay, the emotional buildup.
It can sometimes fall tragically short of the impossible expectations set by movies or social media.
Exactly. Disappointments. The music wasn't great, the venue was underwhelming, the interaction with your date didn't go as planned, can suddenly affect the overall enjoyment.
And turn that deep anticipation into deep regret.
Which leads directly to the fifth and most critical point, the central theme of Sophia's story: safety and health risks.
Right. When expectations crash, or when adrenaline is running high late at night, students often seek external things to fill that emotional gap or to fix a disappointing night.
And prom night commonly involves late-night activities and potentially reckless behaviors like illegal alcohol consumption, substance use to enhance the perceived fun, or, tragically, reckless driving.
It's crucial to stress that this is where the fun stops and the danger begins. The goal is always to prioritize personal safety, make conscious, responsible choices.
And completely avoid engaging in those behaviors that carry permanent consequences. The impulse to extend the night often compromises the basic logistics of safety, like reliable transportation.
And finally, the sixth element, which is often silently borne by students, is emotional stress and anxiety.
The combined pressure, the high cost, the social scrutiny, and the knowledge that this is the last chance for a definitive moment can be truly overwhelming.
Anxiety, general stress, or acute feelings of inadequacy may arise due to all those social pressures.
And the material advises prioritizing mental health and seeking support if the anxiety starts to overshadow the fun.
So if we put all of that together, the clear takeaway for you listening is this: awareness of these potential pitfalls, the financial traps, the emotional strain, the critical safety risks, is truly the first essential step.
It's the first step toward making responsible choices, just like Sophia did when she realized the atmosphere was toxic and decided to leave. Knowing the traps allows you to navigate the event responsibly.
That's right. We need to transition now from analyzing the problem to applying the solution.
For those who are celebrating or planning to attend, the material offers concrete, actionable tips for ensuring the experience remains safe, positive, and genuinely enjoyable.
This is the blueprint for responsibility, and it's broken down into 3 key phases. Let's start with the logistical foundation. Phase 1, planning and transport.
This is the non-negotiable step. Planning ahead is absolutely crucial.
You must have a safe, reliable, and pre-arranged mode of transportation, not just to the venue,
but critically, to and from any secondary locations like after parties or dinner destinations.
And this needs to be discussed in depth, because this is often where the first safety compromise happens.
It is. The material suggests considering designated drivers, which is the classic and safest route public transportation, if it's available, or arranging for ride-sharing services well in advance.
But we need to stress the importance of the designated driver here.
Yes. If you are relying on a designated driver, that person must be 100% sober, alert, and committed to their role for the entire night.
From pickup to the very last drop-off.
And communication isn't just a nice idea, it's a necessity. It is essential to communicate those plans clearly with trusted friends or, perhaps more importantly, with family members.
Establish a check-in system.
Exactly. Make sure someone knows where you are, who you are with, and when you plan to be back. Having that accountability system is a vital safety net.
Especially if your phone battery dies or a situation changes unexpectedly.
Which brings us to phase 2, personal boundaries. This is the core behavioral challenge.
As we saw in Sophia's narrative, dealing with intense peer pressure can feel overwhelming.
The material is very explicit here. Prom night parties can involve intense, unspoken pressure to engage in activities you may not be comfortable with.
Things like substance use or other risky behavior that genuinely go against your values.
And the advice sounds simple, but it's incredibly hard to execute in the moment. Stay true to yourself and your values.
You have to make choices that align with your boundaries and personal beliefs, even if it feels isolating.
Remember, the temporary feeling of inclusion is fleeting, but the consequence of violating your values can be permanent.
And a crucial supporting mechanism for this is your social circle. The material reminds us to surround yourself with friends who truly respect your decisions.
And who actively support your well-being. If your friends are the primary source of the pressure to engage in illegal or unsafe activities,
You have to recognize that you might need to redefine what that friendship means, or follow Sophia's example and distance yourself from that environment.
a supportive friend group is a safety mechanism in itself.
That's the real leverage point here. The allure, as we noted, is that promise of temporary euphoria or acceptance.
But the consequences of compromising your safety for that acceptance are long-lasting and potentially devastating.
Having the courage to say no, even if it risks a moment of awkwardness or isolation, is the ultimate expression of self-respect and maturity on a night designed to celebrate that very transition into adulthood.
That leads us seamlessly into Phase 3, health and social responsibility. This section covers critical interactions and choices, starting with alcohol and substance use.
The priority must always be well-being first.
The material explicitly states that it is illegal and unsafe for underage individuals to drink alcohol. This is non-negotiable.
And we have to talk about the danger of mixing the two: high emotion and impaired judgment.
Being aware of the potential risks associated with excessive drinking or any substance use is vital. The focus should always be on making responsible, conscious choices that prioritize your health above all else.
And if you're the person choosing to remain sober, you are often the most valuable person in the group. You're the person who can step in if a situation escalates.
Just as Sophia could have done if she had chosen to stay and support her friends differently.
Following that is an equally vital, non-negotiable component of safety and interaction: consent and boundaries.
Prom night parties often involve romantic or intimate interactions.
The material strongly emphasizes the necessity of respecting personal boundaries and obtaining clear and enthusiastic consent before engaging in any physical contact.
From a kiss to more intimate interactions.
And this requires us to go beyond the textbook definition. Consent is not the absence of no.
No, it is the presence of an enthusiastic yes. Consent must be an active, ongoing, and mutual process.
It's not just about what others do. It's about you communicating your own boundaries clearly and, perhaps most importantly, always listening to and immediately respecting the boundaries of others.
Even if the situation is highly emotional or you feel disappointed, consent has to be given freely, without coercion. And it cannot be given if someone is incapacitated by alcohol or drugs.
The ability to revoke consent is also paramount.
Yes, consent given at 9 p.m. for a kiss can be revoked at 11 p.m. for a hug. The conversation must be continuous and respectful, ensuring everyone involved remains comfortable and respected.
And finally, under social responsibility, we have the modern-day hazard: mindful social media use.
In the current digital environment, this element of responsibility is critical. The material advises extreme caution with the use of social media during prom night.
The combination of high spirits, sometimes impaired judgment, and the immediate accessibility of cameras creates a minefield.
The specific advice is clear. Avoid sharing sensitive or compromising content of yourself or others without the explicit, clear consent of everyone involved.
The stark reminder here is that what you capture or share online, particularly on a night fueled by high emotion and adrenaline, can have, quote, long-lasting consequences.
Consequences that follow you long after high school is over, impacting academic admissions or future professional opportunities. That digital shadow is permanent.
So we've now reviewed Sophia's narrative. We've broken down the deep structural and psychological challenges that make prom night high risk.
And we've thoroughly outlined the practical steps for a blueprint of safety and responsibility. Prom night is, and absolutely should be, a truly special occasion.
A collective opportunity meant to celebrate an achievement and create lasting, positive memories.
The absolute key, as demonstrated so vividly by the contrast between Sophia's action and her friend's tragic outcome, is finding that delicate, mature balance.
The balance between maximum enjoyment and unwavering prioritization of personal safety and responsible decision-making.
That balance is the definition of true maturity.
The final thought that the material leaves us with is a powerful one, and it serves as the ultimate summary of our entire discussion. It encourages all attendees to pause and remember. Amidst the allure of prom night's magic, quote, tread cautiously through the haze of temptation. For a single moment of recklessness can cast shadows over a night meant for celebration.
That is a profound and necessary caution. We've shared Sophia's compelling story and analyzed the detailed guide for safety and responsibility derived from the material. Now we want to hear from you. Please share your opinions and experiences in the comments section.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Party Animal Podcast. Make sure to check back in for future episodes, and please click that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to help this podcast bring more awareness to others while enjoying an amazing time minus the pitfalls.
Be safe out there.